Welcome to Lizzie's workshop and a special video project or a special art journal page about the Fab4 Creates. That's the hashtag we're going to put it under. And this is one of those ones where a bunch of friends get together and we create something that we have assembled from pieces that we got from other people. So I'll talk more about that in a moment, but I wanted to start off by saying I don't normally gesso my pages. This one I did choose to gesso the page because Sprite is on the other side. If you want to know more about Sprite, you can check out my other videos in my mixed media playlist. And so that's what I'm doing here, is I'm just gessoing the page before I get into the rest of the project. So I hope you enjoy this Valentine's special as the Fab4 Creates. So for February, my friends and I we did an exchange where we each sent some stuff to one of the other people out of the 4 friends who are coordinating the Pick a Stick challenge. And so I had my stuff sent by Peg Robinson, and she sent me a whole bunch of stuff, and of the stuff in this envelope I need to pick 3 to 5 things that I want to use in my own Valentine's Day post or a page or a activity or a project of some sort. So I'm just going to show you what she sent to me in my envelope. First off is a piece of paper. This is from a jelly print. And we'll put that there. Here's another jelly print on calendar paper. That's pretty nice. It's got a butterfly in here. Maybe I'll cut the butterfly out. There's all kinds of different texture in here, so that's pretty awesome. And then I have a bunch of little hearts that are all punched out. You can't barely see them that well, but they are cute little hearts. I'm sure there's more in this package because they're kind of confetti-like. Then there is a couple doilies in here, and they say love across them, and there's some roses in them and the nice stuff around the edges. Here is a foil piece that is embossed, and here is another piece of a jelly print, I believe, or maybe an ink off or something. Some hole punches. Ooh, some glittery pages. I assume this is, yeah, see how shiny that is? And it's all staying nice and solid. This isn't the cheap stuff. This isn't from the dollar store. This is a really nice shiny back kind of thing. We're gonna have to use that. And then here is a pink card. I could make a card. I already have the card front. There we go. Here is an embossed, spritzed, shiny kind of square of paper with hearts on it. So everything that was sent has kind of a Valentine's feel to it. There are a lot of reds and pinks. This is a cutout that says love. This says hearts and kisses come just for you, and all my love comes with it too. There's a couple of those. And then this is a fold up kind of thing, like a little baggie. And then there is a bunch of other cute stuff in here. So here's a little red paper clip. Here's some hearts. There's a sticky backed button that she added on there. Some squares. These are nice. They're kind of like a those puff up stickers. Here's some glitter stickers. Here's some rub-ons. I love you. I love you. Be mine, be mine, be mine. And smitten with you. And those go on the backing here. So I've got a whole bunch of stuff to choose from. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to show you the project once I'm all finished. So amongst all of my stuff, I went through images and stuff like that because I like to use a lot of magazine cutouts and paper piecing and so on. And so I went through and I found this picture of a doll, and she kind of was, you know, the right kind of pinks and kind of dreamy looking face. And so I thought, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a scene with this doll image that I have taken out of a doll magazine from the 1990s, I suspect. And that she's going to be my focal point, and we'll work on it from there. So I wanted to create sky and grass and hillside and a tree. And so I started off with these dilution paints, and the first color that I did was vibrant turquoise. And I put it on there, and then I rubbed it off through a stencil with the baby wipe, and then I dried it with my heat gun. Now, I'm putting on another layer of paint. This is another Dilutions paint, and it is the London Blue. And then I'm going to rub off with a stencil over top and a baby wipe again. Now, my intention here is to create texture in the bottom layer and then create a more solid layer on top. And that's exactly what comes out of this. Now, one of the things that I got a little bit frustrated with at this point was that all those points, the pointy parts, all the harsh angles of this stencil, they keep snagging my baby wipe, so I'm getting kind of frustrated with that. But it's short term. So then I do take my heat gun, and I did cut out a lot of the heat gun process, but I did use my heat gun after every single layer of paint so that it wouldn't wipe off between the more than one layer of paint back down to the layer of gesso. I didn't want that. So next color I use is the yellow, which is called Lemon Zest. And I put that on. These are just makeup sponges from probably the dollar store or Walmart or something. And then I'm rubbing off with a Huggies baby wipe. And the stencils, I think this stencil is a Stencil Girl flower, and it's a two-phased part stencil. It's got a big outer one and this detailed inner one. And the other stencils I'm using, I'm pretty sure they are American Crafts from the from just like Michael's or something like that. So then I grab my green, because I do want this to be a little bit more grass-like, and this green is called Fresh Lime. I'll go over that, add another stencil, rub it off a little bit, just to kind of create some texture in there, some visual texture. I don't actually want there to be layers upon layers of ripply paint so you can run your hand across it and it can be all fabulous, but I do want there to be a little bit of visual texture. And I'm not even sure how much of this is going to show, so I wanted the color variation in there, and I do fall in love with the grass, so in the end I'm sort of sad that I had to cover it all up. The last color that I'm going to use to create the background is another Dilutions paint, and it's called Cut Grass. Now, this one is almost dry, and the reason that this thing of paint is drying out is simply because at one point the lid melted on this pot of paint. I'm not sure where. I can't remember if it happened in my own home or if it happened along the road or if I bought it like that or what. But I do remember the plastic seal around it was kind of a little bit weird when I bought it, and I didn't really pay attention because, you know, you just kind of grab things and buy them. So it turns out that the lid is melted all the way through, and there's a tiny little space where the air gets in and dries out the paint. So I've been trying to use up that green as much as I possibly can before I lose it. So if you remember this piece of tin foil, embossed foil, it came in the envelope from Peg. And so I'm thinking, you know what, I need some nice shiny clouds in this little Miss Muffet type of portrait. And so I go through and I draw it on there with my Pitt pen, some nice 3 layers of clouds, and then I cut it out with my scalpel or my craft knife. And I do this gently because the foil is embossed, and if you try to, you need the blade to cut. If the blade drags at all, you're going to get a tear in the foil. So you want to go slow enough and smooth enough and keep your blade upright and make sure your blade is tight, is like a fresh blade and nice and sharp, or else you're just going to get a lot of dragging and tearing from this. So you want to make sure that everything is nice and sharp when you do that. So the next thing is gluing it down. Now foil sometimes is really difficult to glue down, so what I took is the golden heavy gel, and it's a matte. It's a lot like the 3D matte gel from Art Basics and Finnabair. It glues anything to anything, basically, is what I found. And so then I set up these 3 tiers of clouds. Now you won't see this because it goes off the screen later on, but I do end up putting a layer of golden matte medium over the top of these clouds, and the reason that I did that is because they're a little bit sticky on the top layer and I didn't want them to stick to the next page when I close the book. So I did put a layer of matte medium over top, which kind of dims how shiny they are, but in the end it protects the clouds from being ripped later on. My next step is this poor innocent piece of wrapping paper was laying around. I've been quite addicted to this birch overlaid wrapping paper lately. If you've been watching my videos, it's been in almost every project for like at least the last 2 or 3, and so it had to be in here for the tree as well. Now these papers are from Peg Robinson as well, and I'm just going to go through and randomly punch all 3 of these pages out with hearts. I have 4 different sizes of hearts. This is an old school punch from Creative Memories. I don't know if they have these types of tools anymore. I really haven't looked into it yet, but I really always loved their tools. So I'm going to show you this one page because I did 3 of them, so I might as well show you one whole one. But I just take the 4 different sizes of hearts and I go around and just randomly punching them. I'm not really worried about what's on the imagery or anything like that. I'm more worried about maximizing the paper to make sure that I get as many hearts as I possibly can out of this paper. It's sort of like making a confetti kind of thing. And here are the 2 larger hearts on the other punch. And once I'm done punching out the paper and getting all these hearts in a pile, I'm going to use them as leaves for the tree. And now the leaves are going to be kind of wonky because some of the writing in the background is going to be right side up, some of it will be, upside down, and that doesn't really matter because when you have a piece of paper like this, the writing just becomes another visual texture. So I go on and I do punch out the other 2 pieces of paper. So now I've used 3 pieces from my envelope of stuff from Peg. So now I'm going to use them as leaves. I'm going to take my golden heavy gel. I'm going to smear that around the page just like butter, and then I'm going to glue it on. Now this stuff is pretty expensive, so especially if you buy the 3D matte gel from Art Basics. But the key to it is to not think about the expense, but to think of the longevity of how long you want things to stick. Now, if I'm creating a canvas and I'm attaching a whole bunch of metal stuff to it, I want that baby to be stuck forever. So I will use quite a bit. A lot of times I'll just be dipping my metal components in and gluing them on, like, and not really being concerned about how much I'm using. And that's because I teach classes and because I wanted my class students to be just as free and know that everything's going to stick together just as solidly. I really don't worry about how much I'm using. And with that philosophy, I have gone through, I have a giant tub of it, but I've only had to refill this jar twice, and I use it quite often. So even though I don't pay attention to being gentle with it, I am finding that I don't go through as much of it as I thought that I would, and it goes much farther than I thought it would. So don't be afraid to buy good quality supplies if you want things to last more than a couple years. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, with saying that, I do now, after finding the golden heavy gel, I do use that more often than the 3D matte gel, but that's just because I can buy it in a larger quantity, and then I don't have to even ponder how much I'm using. Sorry, I still have this sinus cold and it's just not going away. I lost my voice this weekend and it almost made me it's making me late for putting this video up because I just got my voice back this morning, and now I can feel that it's going to try to disappear on me once again. So if you watch the placement of these hearts, I did do it really randomly. I was just, throwing on the heavy gel and plastering things down. Big leaves, big hearts, little hearts. I just kind of put it all on there and let it be. So once I have my tree all set, I've decided that I'm going to grab onto this heart. And when I put the heart behind the image of the girl, it seemed like one of those old-fashioned, maybe not so old-fashioned, white wicker chairs. So I kind of got the impression that she had dragged this chair up to the love tree, and she was going to dreamily sit under this love tree until the man who loves her came and found her. So she's just absolutely in love with everything to do with love and Valentine's Day and daydreaming, and she's ready to be picked up and lifted off her feet and saved by her white knight. She's got a flower in her hand, a dreamy look on her face, and she's sitting in her wicker chair under that love tree just waiting for her white knight to come and get her. And this is over the top romantic. I get it. It's okay. Just bear with me this one time. And then I couldn't get away with not using that butterfly as well, and so that had to go in there as well. I love butterflies. And it kind of, to me, portrays that her dreams are, lifting off into the sky and getting away from her, so to speak. So I do use quite a bit of the elements from the envelope from Peg. I used the doily. I used this little punch-out word, love. The butterfly came from the paper. I used 3 different pieces of paper. Now I'm going to dry the tree trunk and take these rub-ons and have them be, instead of initials carved into the tree trunk, we're going to have love carved into the tree trunk. And I'm just using my embossing tool to go around and rub off those hearts onto the tree. This page I kept quite simple. I wanted the imagery to kind of stand on its own. And, a couple days after everything was nice and dry, I thought about going back in with my black pen, and I thought, no, black's not the right color for this. And I thought, okay, well, maybe white is. And I thought, no, everything's already got a bit of white in it, and it's already kind of popping like that. So I thought, okay, well, maybe brown, well, maybe this, well, maybe that, maybe I should paint over her. And then I got to thinking, you know what, I'm not selling this piece of art. I'm showing you my process on YouTube, but I'm not selling this as my art. I've told you outright that she is cut from a magazine, and I thought, you know what, she's beautiful all on her own. I'm just going to leave her just simply, just like that. And this is the page, all finished. Here are the love in there. Here's part of the process of putting the tree on. All of the beautiful leaves of the tree in the heart shape. The shiny clouds with the butterfly. The little love punch out. And here is the beautiful girl off in dreamy dreamland, waiting for her love to come and find her. Thank you once again for joining the Fab 4 Creates for their Valentine's special. Don't forget to check out the videos for the other 3 ladies in the Fab 4 Creates for our Valentine's special. Thanks for watching!